If you struggle with brain fog, difficulty focusing, or maybe just constant mental fatigue, listen up. The problem might not be your age, it might actually be your living room. The shocking truth is that the physical clutter around us places a measurable silent tax on our brains. Today, we're going to reveal the psychological link between clutter and brain fog, especially after 60, and show you exactly how to reclaim your mental clarity.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about this silent tax that clutter puts on your brain. Then we'll get into the why your brain feels so overloaded. We'll introduce a really key idea called cognitive debt. After that, it's all about action. We've got 4 simple steps to get you to clarity. We'll talk about creating your mental margin, and we'll finish up with a super easy 24-hour challenge that you can start today.
So let's start with the big idea here. That feeling of being mentally drained, it's not just in your head, it is a direct result of your environment. We're really pulling back the curtain on a hidden problem, but one that has very, very real effects on your day-to-day life.
I want you to really focus on that phrase, silent tax. You know, a tax takes a little bit of your resources, right? Often in ways you don't even notice. Well, clutter does the exact same thing to your mental energy. All day long, it's quietly just siphoning away your focus. But here's the most important part. This problem is external. It is not some inevitable part of getting older. It's an environmental thing that you and I can actually control.
But why does this happen? I mean, how does a messy room actually lead to a foggy mind? To get that, we need to peek under the hood and look at the science of how your brain handles information. And it all comes down to something called your working memory.
The best way to think about your working memory is to picture the desktop on your computer. You know, it's not the big hard drive where you store everything long term. It's the active space where you have all the windows open that you need right now. It's super powerful, but, and this is key, it's a limited resource. You open too many tabs and the whole system just starts to slow down, right?
And as we get older, our working memory naturally changes. Now, listen closely. It's not a decline, it's a shift. It becomes less about having 100 tabs open and more of a highly focused, really precious resource. This means that little things in your environment that maybe didn't bug you years ago, a stack of mail, some books on the floor, they now have a much bigger impact. Your mental desktop just has less RAM, so every single open window matters a whole lot more.
And this right here, this is the heart of the matter. Every single thing in your line of sight, that mail on the counter, those shoes by the door, is a piece of data. It's another open tab. And your brain, without you even thinking about it, has to see it, identify it, and then decide it's not important right now. It's like this constant, low-level hum of mental activity that never shuts off, and it's just slowly draining your battery all day long.
So what does all that lead to? Well, probably stuff that sounds pretty familiar. First, the brain fog, that feeling like you're thinking through molasses. Then comes that feeling of being overwhelmed, because your brain is already working hard before you've even started your day. And of course, when you're already feeling maxed out, even a small task can feel huge. And that's where procrastination kicks in.
And I really need to emphasize this next point. This isn't just about how you feel mentally. It is profoundly physical. Boxes in the hallway, piles of things on the floor, these aren't just messy. They are serious fall risks. So dealing with clutter isn't just a nice to-do for your mind. It's one of the most critical things you can do to protect your physical safety and your independence.
Okay, so this brings us to a really helpful way to think about all this. Let's call it cognitive debt. It's a concept that perfectly explains how clutter just systematically drains your energy over time. It works just like financial debt, you know? It's not one big purchase that gets you in trouble. It's all the little things that add up. Each piece of clutter is a tiny withdrawal from your mental energy bank account. And over days and weeks, you can end up deep in cognitive debt, feeling totally exhausted and not really knowing why.
So how does this debt build up? Well, it mainly comes from 2 places. 2 primary drains on your brain. The first is constant visual distraction, and the second is something we call decision fatigue. Let's break those down. Visual distraction taps into a really, really old part of our brain. Think about it. We are wired to constantly scan our environment. It's a survival instinct. In a cluttered space, your brain is just being bombarded with signals. And this puts it in a constant state of low-level alert. It can never really truly relax and reset. And the second drain, decision fatigue. You know that pile of magazines? That's a decision waiting to happen. Read it, recycle it. The old mail on the table? Another decision. File it, shred it. Every single thing that doesn't have a specific home is like an open loop in your mind, a little nagging, invisible to-do list that just wears you down. But here's the wonderful part.
The solution is just as simple as the problem. When you create what we call visual white space, a clear counter, an empty tabletop, you are creating a sanctuary for your mind. You're basically telling that ancient part of your brain, hey, it's okay, you can stand down. You're literally giving it a rest area. And the benefits are real. They're scientifically proven. Studies show that living in a more organized space can actually lower your levels of cortisol. That's the stress hormone. It also frees up your executive function, the CEO of your brain, so you can focus on what really matters. And the result is this wonderful, real sense of calm and control. All right, so we get the problem, we get the science. Now for the most important part. What do we do about it? Let's move from just understanding to taking gentle, safe, and sustainable action with a 4-step plan that anyone can do. Here's the plan. It's designed to be simple so you don't get overwhelmed. First, we'll adopt the 1-in, 1-out rule. Second, and this is so important, we'll do a reverse fall audit. Third, we'll create a visual rest area. And fourth, we'll learn to use something called the memory value use filter. So let's look at each one. Step 1 is all about stopping the leak before you start bailing water. The first goal is to just stop accumulating more stuff. The 1-in, 1-out rule is a really simple but powerful habit. A new shirt comes in, an old one gets donated. A new book arrives, an old one goes to a friend. This one habit immediately puts you back in control. Okay, step 2 is non-negotiable. This is about safety first. Before you even think about sorting papers, walk through your home. Look at the paths you walk the most, from the bedroom to the bathroom, from the kitchen to your favorite chair. Clear everything off the floor along those paths. This action alone is a massive win for your well-being. Step 3 is all about giving yourself an immediate win. Don't try to tackle a whole room. That's just a recipe for feeling overwhelmed. Instead, just pick one surface. It could be your nightstand, the coffee table, just one spot. Clear it completely, wipe it down, and just enjoy it. Every time you look at that clear space, it's going to give your brain a little dose of peace. And step 4 is your secret weapon for when you're ready to tackle, say, a drawer or a shelf. For each thing you pick up, just ask yourself these 3 simple questions. Is this a truly cherished memory? Does it have real monetary or practical value? Or do I have a regular use for it in my life right now? If the answer is no to all 3, it suddenly becomes so much easier to let it go without any of that guilt. Now, let's step back for a second and talk about the long game here, because this isn't just about tidying up. This is about a real shift in how we care for ourselves. It's about creating something I like to call mental margin. I really want you to hear this, so let this sink in. If you've been feeling tired or foggy or overwhelmed, please know, it is not a personal failing. It is not a sign that you're not keeping up. It's a completely normal, predictable human reaction to stress in your environment. And once you realize that, you can let go of the blame and focus on changing the environment, not yourself. This right here is our guiding principle. It is such a simple but profound truth. When you take gentle, deliberate control of your physical space, you are automatically creating order and peace inside your own mind. The 2 things are completely linked. So what is this mental margin we're trying to create? Well, it's the reward. It's that extra bit of energy you have at the end of the day when your brain isn't fighting a constant battle with its surroundings. This is the energy you can now choose to spend on a hobby, or learning something new, or having a long chat with a friend. It's the energy for living, not just for managing. So let's reframe this whole thing. Tidying up is not a chore you have to do. It's a powerful act of self-care that you get to do for yourself. It is you actively taking a step that protects your mental clarity, your physical safety, and your long-term independence. It is one of the kindest things you can do for the person you are today and the person you'll be tomorrow. Okay, with all that said, let's put this into motion right now with our 24-hour clarity challenge. If you only take one single thing away from our time together today, please let it be this. Clutter is a silent tax on your memory, your focus, and your energy. It just is. Talking about it is one thing, but the only way to really get it is to feel it. So are you ready to feel that difference for yourself? Here's the challenge. It is so simple. Just like we talked about in step 3, I want you to choose one single high-traffic surface. Your kitchen table, the counter by the door, your nightstand. Clear it completely. Then just make a small promise to yourself to keep it that way for the next 24 hours. That is it. The magic of this tiny challenge is that it's immediate. You don't have to wait for weeks to feel better. The second you create that little island of visual peace, you will feel a real, tangible sense of relief. You will feel your cognitive load get just a little bit lighter. And that good feeling, that's what builds the momentum for real, lasting change. So, as we wrap up here, let's just hold on to what we've learned. First, just remember that physical clutter is not harmless. It's a leading cause of both mental and physical strain, from that nagging brain fog all the way to serious fall risks. And the most helpful thing to know is that the solution can be so simple. By creating these little visual rest areas, these pockets of calm in your home, you are directly lowering your brain's workload. And at the exact same time, you're making your home a safer place.
And finally, I want to leave you with this thought. This is not about being perfect or depriving yourself. By simplifying your environment, you are making an active, powerful choice. You are choosing mental clarity, you are choosing to protect your autonomy, and you are choosing safety for all of the wonderful years you have ahead.